Welcome to Pax Europiana, the podcast about peace in Europe. This one about NATO membership of Austria. This is very important, and it's now time for Austria to join NATO. I say this as this historic place, and that's the Belvedere, the historic castle built by Prince Eugen, and it is the signature place of the Austrian State Treaty, and it's absolutely necessary that Austria joins now NATO in order to be a really free country. Because the slogan Austria is free is not correct. It's not correct. Yeah? We became free of the Soviet occupation, but the Soviets imposed neutrality, non-alliance, into non-membership in the Western world on Austria. We could somehow stay a free country. That was, of course, very important during the Cold War. And we got rid of the Soviet tanks and the Soviet occupational forces, which for 10 years have maltreated and tortured, kidnapped and made a lot of damage to humans and to property in their 10 years of injustice and 10 years of occupational tyranny. But it was then possible to somehow be integrated in EFTA and have a Marshall Fund, OECD. That was really good, and so we were somehow could escape the destiny of Yugoslavia or the eastern countries, but we were never allowed to be a full member of the West. Only when the Soviet Union fell, it was then possible to join the EU in '95 and get, of course, the Russian kind of successor state of the Soviet Union out of the Austrian State Treaty. Thanks Alois Mock, that was historic. And it was then possible to integrate us into the West, and that was really a historic achievement of Alois Mock. And if he would have lived, I repeat, I have said it many times, he would have also led Austria into NATO, but it was not to be. And so we are still today not in NATO, but it is not a role model for anybody, this kind of neutrality, because de facto the Americans were securing us even during the Cold War, and there were military depots of the Americans in case it's needed to come back to secure Austrian freedom. And so Austria is free because of American power and American support for neutrality. And obviously it was a great feast of American diplomacy to get the Soviets out of Eastern Austria, out of Northern Austria. It was achieved then in '95. So it was a good compromise, the peace treaty, and it was not a peace treaty, the state treaty, but it was of course central to withdrawal, and the Hungarians wanted to have the same. The one key reason for the Hungarian and the Polish revolutions in '56, which were so tragically killed then by the Soviet tanks, was the Austrian State Treaty, and we were lucky. But lucky should not be somehow to rest and to be happy in our luckiness, but we should take it as a mission that EU and NATO enlargement is important, and take this day, the 15th of May '55, as a clear kind of signal for further EU enlargement. And now Austria should be the leading country to get Kosovo, Bosnia, and obviously one day Serbia into NATO and in the EU, and that's really important. And first of all, be a good role model, Austria, join NATO. That's what we need at this beautiful day here in Vienna at the Belvedere Castle. I share some of the views. It's a really very nice garden here. Prince Eugen, he built in a way the second Schönbrunn in the surroundings of Vienna. It's very beautiful. Also visit Vienna, but Austria also be a full member of the West and join NATO. And that's absolutely necessary. Thanks a lot for listening to Pax Europiana. More to come. Thanks a lot.